Or 15, final action on amended building on the return of the House with official paper to relieve the amended members of the labor of the Speaker of the table available to the House with the Senate amendments, although rarely actually with the Speaker with the authority to refer the term of the amendment to the appropriate committee with the without time limit of consideration amendment, a minor controversial with the nature of the member with the usually chairman of the committee with the has reported the bill with the make of the direction of the committee with the ask of anonymous consent with the take of the bill with the amendment if some of the Speaker is able to agree to the sound of the amendment at this point with the clerk reads with the title of the bill with the sound of the amendment that there's no objection over the amendment of the declare with the agrees the bill with the ready to enroll with the presentation of the president with the anonymous consent with the non-obtainable with the few bill that does not recur with the consideration committee with the whole of the bill which may be called upon with the speaker to the table with the motion immediately consideration over the amendment of the simple majority with the necessary to take with the motion thereby complete the floor of the action measure on the measure of the sum of the amendment of the House of the bill is subject to the point of order must first be considered with the committee of the whole of the originating with the House and which subject to the point of order most Senate amendment of the court of the consideration committee with the whole of the procedure of the privilege motion seldom utilized. Request for the conference for the mayor of the faculty of the House for the may be separately passed for the own bill with the subject of the non-submission with the make with either bill with the eligible for the conference. One House of the must first take with the additional stuff of the amending with the passing of the bill with the House of the form of the base for the conference of the members are usually determined with the committee with the jurisdiction. May request the anonymous consent with the take with the House of the bill same Senate amendments with the speaker of the table to disagree with the amendment request to agree with the conference of the Senate with the result of the disagreeing votes of the two houses. In this case, the Senate bill has a House amendment that the House may consider the House amendment request for the conference for the discussion bill originating in Senate Part 16. If there is no objection, the Speaker may recognize the member for over the motion with the officer for the direction of the primary committee with all of the reporting committees had initial with the referral of the bill with the one and disagree with the Senate amendment that asks with agree with the conference to with the House for the amendment the Senate bill with the request with agree with the conference. This may also be accomplished by the motion to suspend the rules with a third vote through two-third votes over the rule of the committee on the rules. There is no objection with the request of the motion are carried. Motion strict with the manager of the conference would be in order with the initial motion strict with the prerogative of the minority part of the instruction of the converts usually agree with the manager that rejects accept the reject of the particular Senate House of the provision takes more generally to describe political position examine the possible scope of the conference over the scope of the instruction over the may not contain the argument with the not binding with the House of the Senate with the confers with the after of the motion instruction is over the speaker with the appropriate manager of the informal known of the confer of the part of the House of the message of the chairman of the advising in the House the action of the majority of the members appointed with the confers must have been supported of the House position determined by the speaker with the must appoint with the members primarily responsible for the legislation with the must include within fullest extent with the feasible with the principle with the major provision of the bill passed with the House. Speaker may appoint with the confers to more than one committee may specifically proportion of the House with the same with the version of which are assigned with the numbers are fixed with the speaker with the majority of the party representation generally reflects with the ratio of full hope the House committee will make greater on the important bills. The speaker also have the authority to name substitute with the confers through the provision add or remove the confers after the original appointment. If the Senate would agree with the request of the conference summary with the committee with the appointment of the presiding officer, the chairman, that must move the political parties or the members up to the Senate council for the committee with the chairman of the House for the committee needs to make for the same side of each of the House with a one vote confirmed with the chairman of the majority, which each side with a subset confers with the request of the conference may only be made with the body with its presentation with official paper the occasional send with the anticipation of the House will not cover the amendment vote for the insist for the amendments request for the conference over the passage of the bill prior with the returning to the bill House of the practice of serve with the expedite with the matter of the become of the time with the beat must receive with the designated with the sale and confers with the return with the return of the bill of the House body asking the confers the normal act last of the report submitted with the confer of the commotion with the recommit with the conference report with the not available to the body of the act last authority of the conferees. Although the manager part of the House with meet together with the one committee with it committee over the two separate committees each with the vote separately with the active and the majority vote with the reason variance for the number of the manager each for the House with the largely material. House conferred strictly limited with the consideration made with the disagreement of the two half of the consequence of the may not strike with the amendment of the portion of the bill with the not amendment with the other and how furthermore been not ensure with the new matter with the remain with the beyond with the scope of the difference between the House two houses of the Senate with the amendment revised figure an amount with the team of the bill with the conference limited with the difference between the two number that may either increase the grade with an order decrease the small figures and either the House may alone with the may instruction and power with the new manager to take charge from the text of the both houses with the grade. The disagreement and amendment of the nature of substantive with the committee with the conference committee with the managers of the part of the House that may propose to substitute with a germane modification matter of the disagreement that introduction any language substitute present specifically additional matter for the non-committee with the conference committee with the body of the House and not in order with more over the report with the non-included matter not with the committee with the conference committee by either House. The report may not include modification any specifically matter committee with the conference committee with either by whole wholes and that modification is beyond the scope of the specific matter of the committee with the conference committee with the manager of the part of the House and under specific guidance of the lines of the conference of the general operation bill with amendment by the sound of the general operation bill, which was violation of the rules of the House of the such amendment originated with the House with the included amendment changing with the existing law providing operation for the non-authorized by the law providing reoperations on expended balance if there were amendments by the sound of the providing operation of the bill other than the general operation bill with the may not be agreed with the manager of the part of the House. However, the House may grant specifically called authority to agree with such amendment as separate vote of the motion to instruct the each specific amendment meetings and action of the conferring of the rules of the House required of the conference meeting of the open to the public and of the House of the open session authorized manager of the code of the staff of the report of the conference amendment committee is read in the House. Point order may be made with the conference to fail to comply with the House or the rule requiring with the opening conference meeting with the point of the order sustained with the conference report with the table projected for the House with the new conferences deemed to have been requested. Rules of the House provide for the conduct of the conference and with the manager of the part of the House and to ensure the meeting with the resolution differences between the two houses if they don't occur only with the circumstance within each of the manager of the House with the notice for the meeting with the responsible the opportunity to with all the provisions of the two houses to agree with the opening of the discussion meeting with the conference committee with all the papers reflecting the conference of the agreement are held with invalidity with the charge of without renewal for the opportunity of the manager part of the House reconsider the decision of the sign with the not sign with the agreement. The rules of the House also require that the managers to have the part of the House to provide unitary time, placing at which time the sign and no sign conference report from explanatory statements if it has access to at least one complete copy of the final conference agreement for the purpose of record of the non-recording of the approval of the agreement. There are generally three forms of recommendation available to the conference for the reporting back to their bodies. The House recedes all from all uncertain over the amendments. 1. 2. The House receive with a disagreement. 2. All of the concern over the House amendments agree thereto. 3. The House receive with a disagreement to all and or certain of their House amendments agree thereto with amendments. In more instances of the result of the conference complement with the growing out with the third type of the recommendation available to the conference because of the one House with originally substitute with its own bill to consider with a single amendment. Complete report may be decomposed with any one of the more of the recommendation with the various amendments with the way of the numbers over the amendments that earlier practiced with the general operation bill with the numbers in Senate amendments because of the special rules preventing House conference with agreeing with the Senate amendment to change the existing law of the operation not authorized by the law of the conference. He's often found themselves under the rules or enacted unable to reach an agreement to respect with one or more amendments reported back to the statement and inability to agree with those particular amendments. The amendments were acted on separately. Partial disagreement are not practicable whenever there is current practice. The Senate strikes out with the enactment clause of the substitute zone bill when it must be considered the single amendment. If they are unable to reach an agreement whatsoever, the confer of the fact of the respective body, then there may be the disapproval of the motion of the non-conferring that may be the point of the both of the houses. Additional House may be provided with a non-binding instruction to confer of the position that they are taken. After the House confers any of the bill resolution confirms with between the two parties, they have one calendar date, then legislative the date fail of the make of the report motion and instruct the House confers with the district of the point new. Conferring the privilege of the motion can be made with only after the promotion members announce its intention of its other motion only with the time designated with the Speaker of the Legislative schedule the following day of the like initial motion instruction with 20-day motion for the may not contain the argument must remain within the scope of the conference of the additional during the last 6 days of the session is privilege of motion that move the discharge appointment instruction of the House of the conference of the House conferees have them appointed 36 hours without having made up a report. Alright, conference reports. Women in the conferee with the majority of the vote, each group that have reached complete agreement or found that they are able to agree with the respect with the sum of the authorship with the nominated amendment they make the recommendation report with the duplicate the most for the time of the majority of the conferee with the appointment of each body, each provision to which they are appointed minority with the managers have no authority to file the statement the minority view of the connection with the conference report. Report is required with the president with the both of the House and accompanied with the explanatory special statement with the prepared jointly with the conferee with the part of the House, the conferee with the part of the Senate. Statement that must sufficiently committee detailed explicitly informing the Congress of the effect of the report of the matters considered admitted within the conference, and some of the presentation conference report always within the order except for the journal only being read. Point of order motion that journal with a pending with the wealth of the challenge of voting with assertion of the president of the quorum of the report is reviewed with a question proceeding with the consideration of the report is raised immediately voted without debate of the report is not subject to the minute with the body with the most accepted of the rejected entirety with the time when the debate with the adoption of the report is limited to the time allotted may be equally divided between the majority and minority parties signing with the making the first reply with the voting agreeing with the report with the majority voting order of the committee with the conferees when the Senate agrees with the report manager with the thereby discharge of the delivery of the original paper to the House of the message and advise with the body with the action report containing recommendations extended beyond the scope of the difference between the two houses the subject of the point of order entireties if the point of order is waived with the House of the unanimous consent with adoption of the rule report of the committee on the rules suspension of the rule by 2/3 of vote Senate report exceeding the scope of the conference likely subject with a point of order is not in order for the House to consider the conference report with the difference any way the other than clerical for the task to agree with the converted with the record of the placement with the signature with the nod on the sheet of the prepared with accompanying with the conference report with the joint explanatory statements furthermore describe the exposure earlier than in order to consider with the conference report unnecessary joint explanatory statements include lists of congressional earmarks with limited tax benefits limited tariff benefits and the conference report, joint explanatory statement, the statement of the measure of none of these items. The presentation of the conference report with the House or with any time with except for the during with the reading with the journal with the conduct with the record vote with the voted division. Quorum call for the report considered House may not be sent with the committee with the whole of the suggestion contains of the matter of the ordinary requirement of the consideration of the committee with the report may not be received with the House with the required joint statement. Is not accompanying it, however, there's not and consider either the conference report with the motion with the disapproval of the Senate amendment, the report with the disagreement, the conference of the committee until the third calendar day of the exceeding with the Saturday, Sunday with the legal holidays, unless the House is in session on those days. After the report with the company contained when they have been filled with the House and the media available to the member of the congressional record have those provisions down applied with it during the last 6 days session and not also in order to consider the conference report with the motion with the disapproval of the Senate amendment report with the disagreement unless the copy of the report with the company contained when they give with the text amendment with have been available to members of at least 2 hours before the consideration. By contrast, it always in order of the call of the consideration report with the committee on the rules same day of the reported purpose only will waive the availability requirement of the conference report or a Senate amendment reported disagreement the time allotted for the debate conference or motion is 1 hour equally divided between the majority and the minority party. However, the majority and minority floor managers both support within the conference report with the motion 1/3 of the debate time must also be allotted for the member who is opposed if claimed. The House does not agree with the conference report. The Senate has agreed with the report of the recommended with the conference and situation. The Senate situation in that situation, the Senate conferred with the judiciary. The Senate agreed with the report of the House may request the new conferring with the Senate. The conferee that must be reappointed. If the conference report is called for the House with containing no more than one violation of the rules of the House for the germanious matter of the officer of the amendment of the House containing either the Senate bill of the Senate amendment of the House measure for the accepted by the House conferees, group of the conference committee with a modification and substitute amendment agreed to be by the conference committee with a point of order may be made by the beginning of the consideration of the non-germane matter with the contained with the approval of the point of order may be waived special rule of the point of order sustain a motion reject with the non-germane matters exempt for the point of order privilege motion of the debatable with it for 40 minutes half the time of the favor the half of the time of the opposed motion with nothing with the sustain with the final disposition on the point of the order respect with the or the motion to the reject with the non-germane matter with a further motor points of order made with the respect with the report with the further motions may be made reject the other non-germane matter with the conference report with the not with any previous point of order with the have been sustained by the motion with the reject and with the top of the after final disposition of all the points in ordered motion with the reject with the conference report with the consider with the rejected question with the pending for the House. Move the reside with the concur with the amendment with the consider the portion with the conference report with the not reject the two and with the House with the amendment with the motion with the reject with the defeat with the House with the decide with the permit the inclusion with the non-germane setting with the matter of the conference report and all the allocation with the time of the debate with the conference report in order to remove the question with the adoption conference of the report. Similar procedures available to the House with the time of the proposed the amendment of the measure of the would be violation of the rule against the non-germane amendments. Therefore, it is 1 report of the disagreement of the committee with the conference 2 before the House and the state with the disagreement is reached. Number of amendments Senate reported disagree with the may be voted separately with a adopted the majority of adoption of the conference report with itself with the non-conference have been with the least amendment with the Senate with the receipt with the all the amendments with the amendments are insisting of the other without request for the conference or restricts to them. The House does not accept the amendments of the insisted by the Senate of the entire of the conference of the process of the beginning became with restrict on them. The one House may also further amend with amendment over the other House until third degree of the amendment within the House is reached. Custody of papers, custody with official paper that is important conference of the proceed with because of either the body with the maybe the in the conference report with only the possession of the paper, the tradition over the papers of the transmittal of the body and agreement with the conference from the body of the manager of the ask of the conference, the later for the turn and the carry of the papers of the conference of the conclusion term them over the manager of the House agree with the conference of the manager of the House agree with the conference delivery with their own House, which acts first on the report of delivery of the papers of the House of the final action of the report. However, if the manager of the part of the House agreeing with the conference surrounded with the papers of the House acting in the conference of the report may be active with the first House as seen conference and conclusions. The conference each group of the conferee with the report and it retains one copy of the report have been duplicated and signed by the majority of the manager of each of the body House of the copy signed with the first House manager signed with the copy signed with the rest of the vice manager. Bill cannot become law until it is approved with identical from both the houses of Congress, and the bill has finally been approved by the houses of the original paper transmitted with the rolling clerk over the body in which the bill originated. 16. Bill origination in Senate.